Now on to episode 2. So let's see. Ellie wakes up and they've traveled pretty far from the QZ now. This is when she lays it all out for them also, is when she tells them, I think I'm immune. That's the whole thing. Why I'm getting sent to this other Firefly location is because they think they can make a vaccine for a cure. And also, like, and Tess and Joel are very, what's the word?
They're wary of her. They don't trust her.
Yeah,
and they don't believe it.
Yeah, they don't believe that there's a cure or there's a vaccine in any way, because they've always had that hope, and I'm sure they've had other, other situations where people are like, oh yeah, this is the cure, this is the vaccine, and it never works out. And they're trying to get to this Capitol building, which is like literally in the center of the city.
They're in Boston, right?
Yeah.
So somehow Joel went from Texas to Boston in like 20 years, but yeah.
I know, I don't know. I guess traveling around, I don't know, yeah. They don't really explain how he gets there either.
They make it seem so easy that they just hop from state to state.
No, I know.
It takes like months.
Yeah.
Yeah. They go up through a museum.
There's no easy path to get there, let's just say that.
Yeah. And they hear noises upstairs, and we haven't really seen any runners yet this episode. Or really since, like...
We haven't really seen any infected at all.
No.
Except, like, the old lady, I guess.
Yeah, like the 1 or 2 from the first episode.
Yeah.
And they go upstairs, and that's when they stumble across the very first clicker, which I had actual chills hearing the clicker, because it sounded so much like the game.
Yeah, like, so eerie. Mm-hmm. Oh, my... Yeah.
And the makeup was amazing.
Yeah.
And so they have to be quiet, because clickers, they can't see, but they can hear.
And it's like their whole face has been turned into, like, what is it called? Like, it's echolocation?
Yeah.
They use echolocation to, like, see where people are because they can't see themselves. But basically, like, the fungus takes over their entire face, and they can't necessarily see anymore, but they can hear really well.
Mm-hmm. Like, their brain has, like, been split open. It's kind of, like, blooming like a flower.
Yeah.
And so they have to be really quiet, and of course they're not quiet, and the clickers attack, and there's like 2 of them or something.
There's 2. Mm-hmm.
And Ellie's kind of defenseless because she has her knife, but she's not immortal. She's immune. And so they kill the clickers and then realize they go and they leave, and they're kind of all shaken up, they're all hurt in some way.
Yeah.
And they make it to that Capitol building in Boston, and that's when Tess, and they're trying to find the Fireflies, but it's empty. Like, everything from the Fireflies is gone.
Yeah, it's, again, another bloodbath where there's bodies everywhere. Literally no one is alive. Like, there's not one person that is alive that is part of the Fireflies.
Yeah, they thought like one or multiple of them got infected, and then they just started killing each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's whenever Tess starts freaking out and is like shuffling through all of their stuff, trying to figure out like if there is a way to get Ellie to the Fireflies. Mm-hmm. And that's when she reveals to Joel and Ellie that she's been infected, like she's been bitten by a clicker. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of an emotional scene because there's something between her and Joel.
I really like Tess. Mm-hmm. I will like miss her forever. Like, she was, and even like we knew her for such a short time, but she like made such an impact on like everyone. And like it was super clear how much Ellie took to Tess more than she took to Joel in the beginning. So yeah, super, super sad. Yeah.
I disagree, because I didn't like her in the games.
Really?
Yeah, but mostly because she would get in front of my character and I couldn't get around her.
Oh,
and so I was
just
really
always
annoying.
in the way?
Yeah, that's the only reason why I didn't like her. So.
Okay, but yeah, as a character in a show, though, like, what did you think? She didn't really
do a whole lot. They definitely added more depth to her in the show than they did in the game, because even in the game, we don't really know if they're a couple or not. Like,
yeah,
it's never said, and they never really have any romantic interactions. And even in the show, you don't see that a whole bunch, but you do know that Joel obviously found companionship in her, however long they had known each other. Mm-hmm. And we get more of that in the next episode. But she didn't leave that much of a mark on me, but I do know she did leave a mark on Ellie and Joel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she was important.
I really liked her because she was kind of like that. She just felt like a person you could trust, and that would always like have your back no matter what. And like I feel like it was super sad that they lost that. You know, not that Joel doesn't also have that, but you know, she has that feminine touch that like Joel didn't have.
Joel realized he had to say goodbye right then because more infected were coming.
Yeah.
And then she like lets an infected make out with her.
Stop. That is not what happened at all. So basically like Joel shoots this infected that's like on the ground, and like they don't really mention this at all, like in the rest of the episodes, where like you shoot part of a cordyceps on the ground or something and it alerts a bunch from another location. Like
they're
that's
all
not,
like connected.
They're
somehow.
all connected through the fungi or something, but they don't use that in the rest of the show, really, do they?
I mean, you definitely see when you see the infected that are like attached to the walls, and they're kind of, there's like roots almost. Like you can see that there is some kind of connection there. But I think because we don't see a whole bunch of the runners and clickers the rest of the show, there's no need to mention it. But whenever we do see clickers and runners, they're always in packs.
Yeah.
So I mean, they were just elaborating on it a little bit, and then you kind of can put it together the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Which I liked. They didn't go into depth about the fungi in the game. Like, you don't even know it's a fungus, really. Like,
it's just like something that like affected people.
Yeah, because in the game, actually, if the air is infected with the spores from the infected, if there's like too many of them in an enclosed space, it creates spores. And if you go into it and you're there for a prolonged time, you can breathe it in and like get infected. And so in the game, like Joel and Tess had to wear masks, whereas Ellie didn't have to because she was immune to it. But they didn't put that in the show. But I think by creating this whole like
other way to get infected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really like made it so much more scary, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Because like you can get bit or you can breathe air and you get infected. Like that's pretty crazy. But no, I understand what you're saying. But like, yeah, okay, so Tess gets bit, and then Joel shoots the ground where this infected was, and it alerts a whole horde of them from another location, and they know exactly where they are. So Tess decides to sacrifice herself and starts pouring oil all over the floor and is telling Joel, go, take her. Like, she's our only chance. I think it's the smartest thing to do in that situation because, like, she's bitten, so there's really no point in her to, run away with them when she could just, handle the situation herself. Tess is, like, really distraught and trying to light this lighter while all of these infected rush in. And then this one guy looks at Tess and just beelines for her. And then it's this really weird thing where he, like, leans in and is, like, and, like, puts his, those...
Looks like angel hair pasta coming out of their mouth.
But it's, like, it's the cordyceps. But he literally, like, makes out with her while she's trying to light and it's, like, trying to light it, and then she finally does, and then the whole building blows up. And then you just see Joel and Ellie, like, walking ahead and continuing on their journey. But, yeah, really sad. And really weird make-out scene. I don't know how else to explain it, but, yeah. So that's the end of episode 2. Hi, guys. I hope you enjoyed our recap of episode 2. And now I will be getting into my opinions. My favorite scene, my least favorite scene, and one thing I would change about episode 2. So my favorite scene from episode 2 is when Tess sacrifices herself to save Ellie and Joel. It just shows how selfless she is as a person, and I really, really thoroughly enjoyed her character as a whole. I know maybe a lot of people didn't obviously we don't know her that well, but she just got an instant connection with Ellie and was super protective over her, and it just warmed my heart. So seeing her die this way is sad, in my opinion. But I think it was really courageous of her to sacrifice herself for the safety of Ellie and Joel. And yeah, so that's my favorite scene. Now we will get into my least favorite scene. So there's this scene where Tess is trying to find a way through a building. So they're trying to meet the Fireflies at this Capitol building. And they're going through this one building to get to this other building. And Tess goes up to try to find a way. So then it's just Ellie and Joel sitting face to face, backs to the wall. It's just really like it's kind of an awkward scene because Joel has no intention of getting to know Ellie, and Ellie wants to know everything there is to know about Joel. And I think she's like that with everybody. Ellie is super nosy, just wants to know every piece of information there is to know about a person. So Joel is very like, get away from me, and she just wants to know everything. But the scene, it's not a bad scene necessarily, it's kind of secondhand embarrassment because Ellie is trying a little too hard to get to know Joel. So yeah, that's my least favorite scene. And then one thing I would change, y'all know what scene I'm about to talk about right now. So the scene where Tess is sacrificing herself and trying to light the lighter, then this infected comes over and, tries to make out with her. And it's just a very uncomfortable scene and kind of felt unnecessary. Not that it wasn't funny. I laughed when I saw it, and I just thought, how ridiculous is this that he's trying to make out with her? But it's obviously a way for him to spread the infection faster, like through the mouth. But I just thought it was really weird because he walked up and he was just like... So, and obviously that made Tess super uncomfortable. And it was uncomfortable for us too. So I'm glad that it was only maybe a 30-second clip of the show, because I don't know if I could have dealt with that for any more time. So yeah, those are my opinions. Let me know your opinions or thoughts in the comments below. Bye.